Good evening, everyone. You might see me with my sunglasses on. Why I've got my sunglasses on. I had a brilliant day yesterday. I went to Jason's. Jason came down, picked me up, and anyway, I was up there. And great food, great conversation, great everything, to be honest. And it did me the world of good. But the caveat is, I left my glasses there. My glasses there, so I can't see when I'm in my own. I try not to. I don't watch the telly. I've got a massive telly with my glasses on, so and I just keep them off. And it's very rare that I get any sort of communication at a certain time, So I just leave them off. And sometimes I struggle trying to read some text that I get in, and then I put my glasses on where my eyes fade. And that's why. So anyway, I've got no glasses until tomorrow or Wednesday. No glasses until tomorrow or Wednesday. This is why I've got to wear these, because these are prescription glasses. I can read with them, thankfully. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not trying to look cool or anything like that. It's just that, I've got to wear them. And I've been told anyway, by me opticians, if you're doing anything like that, looking at monitors, or you've got to wear your sunglasses. There's loads of people like me who have to wear them, especially in offices. They wear them. Anyway, that's that. That's my excuse. Not an excuse. It's real. Good evening, Frank and chat. I hope you're well, mate. Do you know what, ladies and gents? I hardly go down to me post box. I've got a post box where I live. And when Jason picked me up, I said, I wonder if I've got any mail. So I see mail there, I said, I'll get that when I come back. So I picked the mail up, and that gentleman sent me a heartwarming, beautiful letter. And a picture of, he knows that I like castles. And it was a beautiful letter, and a smashing picture of Edinburgh Castle. A really lovely picture. It's like frames as well. So I'll treasure that. That's what he sent Mr. B. And Mrs. B, by the way. Mrs. B. Because Mrs. B sent her regards to Frank. So I'm absolutely delighted. I really was. It was a great surprise, to get a communication like that. To little old me. And wishing me well. And I really, never mind what I think, I don't want to sound soppy or anything. Thanks, Mr. B and Mrs. B and all the little bees. Dennis, greetings, campers. Cook to subscribe and smash the like button. Thank you, Dennis Paparak. He was playing as I thought he was playing on Friday, so I wished him all the best. A great gig, but it's not. He's playing next Friday in Detroit. Is our Dennis, but he celebrated the 4th of July nevertheless, defeating the British. Good afternoon, says Dennis to Mr. B. and Darryl. Frankie, And Darren says, it the likes, it's fucking free. Yes, you're right. You're right. But I hope someone's not coming on. You know what? Now for the first time, and looking and saying, "Oh, look at this Pratt with his sunglasses on." But I can't keep repeating what I've just said by leaving me glasses, and these are prescription, and so I'm not posing. I'm not doing anything. I have to wear them, to be honest, or I wouldn't be able to have done the show. Barry. Hey, Barry. Good evening, Frank and chat. Looking forward to tonight. Yes, glad you are. And Daryl says, Jesus, it's the Matrix on stream. Look and go, Frank, thank you. The Matrix with one suit missing. Hashtag 97, thank you, Mr. B. Thank you. And you never walk alone. Beautiful. Thank you. Never forget them. Never forget them. Franco's doing his best Roy Orbison impersonation. Do you know what, Dennis? I had an ambition to see them. And I went up to not the Royal Court, the Everyman, and he was appearing on there. And I said, oh, so I went up, and the queue was miles, and I didn't get in to see him. So that was one of my ambitions, to see the big O. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him. It's sod's law, isn't it? Queuing up as well. Queued up for ages. Mr. Tom Franco. And Jason says, I'll drop them off as soon as I get them back from the rabbit. Do you know what? He's got the funniest rabbit in the world, you know. Honest to God, he has. Like, I'm not used to rabbits or anything like that. I'm not used to animals, you know. And he's like Tom Good out of the good life, honestly. He was showing me raspberry trees and blackcurrant trees, apple trees, pear trees. And the rabbit, honestly, it just came by me. Looked up as usual, you know, just went, oh, all right. I went, hello, rabbit. And it just lay down. You know the way a cat or a dog lies down? It just lay by at the side of me. I was just looking at it. Incredible. Because I was on my own. Because Jason was doing, loads of food. I'm sure there must be Italian in him, because he does the finest lasagna. Fantastic. Fantastic. And Daryl, you don't need to look cute, Franco, you are cute. Oh. Thank you, Daryl. Oh, Gary, are you Gary? Gary Richards. Tell you, Frank, Liverpool needs a striker ASAP. I'm doing, Gary, a Liverpool podcast, football on Wednesday. I'm not doing one tomorrow night because there's so much going on in the World Cup. And so I'm not doing that, no. And I've never known anything. I've actually, when you see the World Cup being played every 4 years, and you see players getting sent off and, and all this, you see them. And I've never known, and Dennis Paparak's a great football fan, supports the Reds. And I think he must be He must shrug his shoulders at this. There's a fella named Lutnick, one of President Trump's whatever they are. And can I just read this out? It's just come up. We're having trouble there streaming on Facebook. This may be an issue on Facebook. Facebook's end. And hang on. Is it possible the stream was ended? It's all small print. Was ended or deleted on Facebook. We'll keep trying and let you know if it's resolved. Please check Facebook to ensure the stream looks okay. If this continues for a while, try and create a new live stream or just remove this destination from the stream. It's got loads on, so I don't know. I haven't a clue. But that's to me. That's to me, that. I haven't a clue. Oh, friggin' hell. I've done it. Oh, come on. All this technical stuff. So if you want to join me tomorrow, not tomorrow, on Wednesday, I'm going to have Darryl on with me. Darryl, he's coming on with me. So a link will be sent to him. So, look out for it, 7 o'clock usual time on Wednesday. Buonasera, Franco and Co. Blimey, Franco, you're looking cool tonight, as the kids from the 1970s would say. Thanks. I've explained, haven't I, about leaving my glasses up in Jason's. He had a wonderful day up there yesterday. And just left them. Just left them. Toscana. Frank, keep her hydrated with beer. Yeah. Do you know, a lot of phones up at dentist, today. And I wasn't going to get it done until after my operation next month. Anyway, phones up. And they said, it's, consultation fee. I said, okay. I said, I'll come up and pay it, when give me a, oh no, they gave me a date to go up. So I said, okay, smashing. And then they said, can you give us the consultation fee now? I said, why can't I? I said, look, and I explained that my daughter's got my card. And she does shopping for me, and, So anyway, I said, I'll get it off there. I'll come up next Monday. That's when the appointment was for. I said, I can bring my cards, I'll just pay you cash. And she said, no, we won't pay you now. And I thought, I've had enough of this. So I just said, okay, yeah, I'll see you then. But everything is now gimme before, isn't it? Gimme, gimme, gimme. Like the last lot, when you went up there, they demanded the money off you, before you walk through the doors. And it's not far, this dentist from where I live, which is good. So I don't know what to do. Your mate, Steve Mulholland. Hi, Frank and chat. How you stay? And Mr. B. You're very welcome, Frank, anytime. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. B. You're a good man. And Mrs. B. The FIFA are to award the USA the best nation of the World Cup, whether they win or not. I've heard, of course, of course. And that's what I was going to mention as well. I've never known in the World Cup a country saying, can you overturn that red card that the lad got? And it was a red card, by the way, I believe. You know, he could have broke the lad's ankle. This is, anyway, I've never known that. So you see how corrupt it is. I'm sorry, Dennis, I know that you're a great fella. You're not one of those people. But you see how corrupt America is. And I heard Trump saying as well, you know, he's got the referee, that is, he's got a bad past. I could tell you about his past. I think that's disgusting. Coming from a president of a country. And there's Trump, you know, saying that about the referee. And yet he's gone and invaded other countries, you know, covert operations for regime change. Not only that, but he invaded Venezuela and arrested, or kidnapped, I might as well say, the president of Venezuela and his wife, and they're incarcerated in a jail for nothing. And he's going, yeah, overturn. It's shocking. That's why I'm not watching it. That's why I don't watch it. This is why I've told people not to watch it. It's corrupt. Smash the like, says Mr. B. Thank you. And Franco. The most important thing in life is to stop saying I wish and start saying I will. That's a cracker. Consider nothing impossible, then treat the possibilities as the probabilities. That's a quote, isn't it, from someone? I forget who it is. It's not Mark Twain. Mark Twain comes up. I forget who that was. It's someone like Mark Twain or Oscar Wilde. Someone like that. Forget. Great. Well done, Franco. Love that quote, mate. Thank you so much. And Dennis, for the records, all fingers and toes present and accounted for a safe from the fireworks. Oh, yeah, you know, got to think of the animals, haven't you? The Kit Kat Matrix. Yeah, you wouldn't believe it, would you? It's funny how they said today, you know, when the phone's at distance and stuff, they said, how did you lose your tooth? And I had to tell them. I don't want to talk football tonight, and I don't want to talk England. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk football, I don't want to talk England. Football's for Wednesday. Lee Brady, my old mate. Hello, Frank. How's things? Hope your blood results go. You're not going to believe it. They won't fucking... I'm sorry to say, swearing already. I get a phone call, and I've got to go up again to my doctors to have more blood taken. I said, you've only had it done last week. It took me how much blood? This will be 4 bloods in less than 2 weeks. I'm really, you know, it got me down actually. It really got me down, people. Still shocked about Jota's anniversary, how fast that was. Yeah, I remember you putting my name on the brick. And it's as though it was just yesterday, Lee. I was in Broad Green Hospital waiting to get seen to when that news broke. Anyways, top glasses, Frank. When are you joining Oasis? Yeah, as I said, I left my glasses in Jason's yesterday, and these are prescriptions, so I can actually read. The bit of a struggle, like, because they are dark, but nevertheless I can read. And then says he went with the shades for the same reason as you, mate. Lost his glasses, and his shades were prescription, and it stuck. Behave. I have to wear everything. I've got about 4 pairs of shades, all prescription. No, I've got more. And Darryl says, Nestle should pay you for the truth. That's neglect from a chocolate bar. Yeah, someone said to me, why don't you write to them? Why don't you sue them? That shouldn't be like that. Just biting into a chunky bar and your tooth comes out. It broke from the root. The root is still there. The root of all evil. You only need to lose the glasses and get a white cat, and we can nickname you Blofeld. But that's for another topic. Donald Pleasance played him, didn't he? No, 2 fellas played him. Charles Gray and Donald Pleasance played Blofeld. The vlogs, MI6. What's the history of Calderstones Park, Frank? Be a place I'd love to do metal detecting in the future. It goes back a few thousand years, Calderstones. I'm doing the history of Liverpool now, so I might say I'd have to do it in 2 belts, unfortunately. The history of Liverpool. So, bear with me. I will do the Calderstones for you. And the vlog says, yeah, we've been having problems with Facey. That's to switch over to this page as it went off on Facey for some reason. No one knows. Steamer Holland. Follow a New York band called Tragedy. That's the Dennis. Very entertaining band. There you go, Dennis. Tragedy. Yet the stream went off for me on Facey, but it's okay. Most of us are on YouTube anyway, says the vlogs. I'm looking forward to it, Frank. Yes. That's the on Wednesday, isn't it? The boys back together Wednesday night. A lot to talk about. But don't talk about it tonight. No football, please. And pre-season starts LFC. And Franco says, in 1963, Orbison, before a tour with the Beatles, left his glasses on a plane, panicking. Hang on. panicking, he wore his dark Ray-Ban Wayfaring on stage. Yes, Wayfarers on stage. But it was Lennon who told him. The audience loved the look and it instantly became his trademark. Yeah, you're right. But apparently Lennon told him, wear your shades. And that was it. That's, that's gone right through Liverpool. And Roy Orbison, come on. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable voice. Unbelievable. Loved him. The big O. And Dennis says, thanks, Stephen. We'll check them out. That's Tragedy, the band Tragedy, American band. And Mr. B says it was a shocking challenge. I think it's disgusting that it was overturned. Maybe, Trump said, listen, if you don't overturn it, I'll go and bomb FIFA. I'll bomb FIFA with all these missiles, and you better be in to receive them. Excuse me. I'll do that. I will, promise you, Dennis. I'll do it, mate. No problem. This Friday coming. Admission is free. Excalibur Park. And this is in Detroit, I think. The Incurables, Dennis Paparak's band. The good, by the way. Look at that. Cracking poster. I'll get Jason to put us up on Wednesday for you. I'll send him it. Let's see if we can put us up now. Let's see. Oh, stop it. I'm sorry about this. Fuck. Don't know what I've done there. I was absolutely livid when that Orange intervened. Never thought it was possible, but FIFA's become more corrupt than under septic blood. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. There we go. And that's if anyone's going over to America and they decide to go there, go to Excalibur Park and watch these lads play. There's other bands, obviously. There's other bands, and it's free. Everything is free. That's brilliant, that. The Incurables. Excellent stuff. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, mate. And Mr. B, the officials for the World Cup have been shocking. But so is the President of the United States being shocking. The vlogs. Charles Dickens, Frank. You know what? I'm going to show you something now. What Joanne and myself are going to. Oh, yeah, there he is. Look. That Lucknow fella never missed a day in his office on the World Trade Center until that fateful day in September 25 years ago. Yeah, he didn't, did he? And all of a sudden he wasn't there. I'll just take that down a minute because I really need you. Honestly, I really need you to have a look at what we're doing. We want to do art and literature together. Now, you might think, oh, art and literature, but it's not like reading books or anything. These are visionaries from the art world. Right up, say from the Renaissance, for example, right up to the present day. Now, you might think, oh, well, what's that got to do with literature? It's got a lot to do. The likes of around Da Vinci, right up to, I want to show you something. Bear with me with this, people. Look at that. Look at that. See? And we can explain things like this. This is what I mean about literature. And visionaries. It's incredible. Absolutely amazing. And what you see. So when it's explained, and the likes of Da Vinci, when it's explained, and how it involves literature, you'll be amazed. Honestly, you'll be amazed how literature works. You get people, so I mentioned Dickens there, and you get people that read a story, but they don't know what's gone into the story. They know what's gone into the story, but they don't. It's hard to explain what we're trying to do because, say, like anything. There's a quote in Hamlet, whether to be nobler in the minds and suffer the slings of arrows or outrageous fortune mean, and shall I act the way I am, or shall I act a fool? And that was aimed at England. That it's a quote from Shakespeare's Hamlet, but it's aimed at England, and that they'll all be explained. Things like that, especially Shakespeare. Things will be explained by Dickens, William Blake. These are visionaries, these people. You'll have the likes of Eric Blair. Who's Eric Blair, you might ask? Eric Blair is is the greatest visionary of all time. Eric Blair. Love him. I just love him. Listen, I'm going to thank my sponsors before we carry on. At Scott Payton Services, these lads are fully time served. There's no cowboys. They're fully insured. If you're an NHS worker or if you know anybody who's an NHS worker, elderly, whether they're on their own or a couple, and they want everything to be decorated, just get these in because you get a special discount. They really do. That's an NHS worker or elderly people. And if you don't fit into the categories, please, please, please phone them up. If you're doing any decorating, especially outside, don't struggle on ladders or anything. Get these lads in, and they'll give you the price without any obligation whatsoever. And they're quick as well. They're brilliant. That's Gap Painting Services, the sponsors of every single pod I do. Every single one. Cedric, hiya Cedric. Legends or imposter? I'm just kidding. Hope you're okay considering. Thank you, Cedric. I hope you're well too. I really do. Sorry, big up, legends. Stuff with the yeah. I'm reading through. Prescription glasses. That's why I really need them. That's why I really need them in capital letters. Because as I said before, I left my glasses in Jason's yesterday, so that's why I have to wear these. I wasn't going to do it, to be honest, to show. And I'll wear your sunglasses. Jason said, just wear them. At least you'll be able to see out of them, because they are prescription and you can read the comments. I'm going to start. I'll have to start the thing. History, being bringing the time team, and the rest is history. Hosted by Tom Holland and Dominic Sambrook on YouTube to get through the work. Oh, go away. Go away. Usually got the time team. Bluey, In Dreams. Yeah, In Dreams. Fantastic. Watch Blue Velvet. Crack of that. I've watched it myself, that. Watched it. Blue Velvet. Bluey. Stephen Cochran. Good evening, Frank, fellow Reds. Hope you're all well. You'll never walk alone. Thank you, Stephen. Hiya, mate. Hang on a minute. What's that? Sano Bear Battery. Sano Bear Battery. Hello, mate. Sorry I'm late. Don't be worrying if you're there. I'll have to call you Sano. I'm not going to go right through that again. Sano. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Top shelf, mate. Ta says tennis. Oh, that's the poster, yeah. Yeah. Roy Orbison was a great performer, says Stephen. And wasn't he blind? Another was Buddy Holly, who knew to play. Oh, he knew how to play an instrument as many did, along with Connie Francis. She was great, Connie Francis. I'm going to start. I'm going to start about the history of Liverpool. And the history of Liverpool. Say what you see. Say what you do as well, Bluey. Can you please subscribe and hit the likes for Frank, please? Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. I'll never get this three done, will I? Anyway, lovely Tushka. Ed Dastawa and the Labour Party want to control who has podcast on YouTube. Of course, it'll only be the ones who have, yes, the same narrative as them. So much for free speech, yes. That's why I've got to be very careful, being honest. You know, because you can't really say what you need to say and what you want to say. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, Toscana. Can't wait till 9 o'clock and get a cup of tea. And up the blues, says this lad. I don't know who he is, like, but I hope you subscribe to me. Davey. Reed Frank. Greetings from Geordieland. Geordieland. Loving the bin kids, Frank. Loving the bin kids. Yeah, we're bin zippers, you see, as you know, Davey. They're all bin zippers. Anyone up who lives in the north are bin zippers. He's a music fan. We're all music fans, to be honest, Bluey. Every one of us. I'm a great lover of music. I love opera. Believe it or not, I love the opera. I love the only type of music I don't like is, and lots of people like it actually, is jazz. Can't stand jazz. I won't have it on. I've even turned films from the 70s and 80s off because of, you know, the jazz theme. Just turn it off. Bin lids, bloody auto spell. And there's our Bluey leaving. Up the blues, says Bluey. All right, up the blues, mate. To the bloke who invented auto spell, I hope you got to say hello. Right, so here we go. Liverpool, how did it start? How did Liverpool start? Believe it or not, just let me answer this. I've got to show you this, people. See that poor kid? Everything's saying that it's happening, you know, on the West Bank. It's not. It's happening in Africa too. I'll show that again. Just bear with me. This kid's in trauma. Watch him. Please watch him. Look at him. Look at this. Hang on a minute. That beautiful little girl. You know where she is, don't you? I'll be talking about them on Friday. I'll be talking about them Friday. Bit more. For the current affairs. We can't ignore these people, these children. We can't ignore them. If you ignore children and those kids, you're complicit. But I'll be going in depth on Friday about these kids. That fella saying Up the Blues is a music fan. That's what I meant. Oh, okay. Bluey, honest mate, whoever there. And, Dennis, I'm sorry there, mate. I need to hop off for a meeting at the top of the hour. I'll be back here ASAP. Thanks, Dennis. You know where Dennis comes from, don't you? You know where he's looking in from. He's looking in from Tampa. And in his garden, he has alligators roaming about. What's he trying to bagel in? Oh, blimey. Alligators. And Bluey. Frank, we've been watching since 1980. Yeah, I've been before them, mate, as well. Good for you, Bluey. Good for you, Matt fella. You've got a colour to your heart and, you stick with it. That's what it is. Poverty around the world is sad, says Stephen Coughlin. World needs, I wish you'd put us in caps. I've got my sunglasses on. Poverty around the world is sad. It's a sad world, indeed. So feel bad for these kids who have nothing. It's bad news, of course, Stephen. And they have absolutely zilch. Nothing. They're in rags. I wish that we could do more, but what can I do? What can you do? It's governments that should be doing these things. Governments. At least you're talking about them. Some will prefer that they just remain ecstatic. Good man, Frank, says Johan. Thank you. Thank you, Johan. And that's what it is, you know. Don't talk about them, just people have to know. Should have seen, but I hope I get it up. I hope we'll be able to show it on Friday. And it was shocking. About a lad. Oh, fucking hell. When I think about it. But, you know, that's for Friday. Oh, I'm just thinking about it then. It's sickened me. It's sickened me. But anyway, that's for Friday, as I said. Oh, yeah. Nothing to do with colour. I mean, we've been watching poverty. Of course, I've been watching it for a long time, me. Before 1980, to be honest, Bluey. Naive question, Frank, says Davey. But was the name Liverpool in the original name, or was it just a district, Birkenhead? Birkenhead, that's a good question. What it was, I tell you what, I'll have to. I'm sorry, people, but I've got to start. Fucking hell. I'm going for a break. I have to go for a break. But this is Liverpool history, and Davies just put me on the right track here. Simply because I really need to start the origins of Liverpool. I really do. You know, it involves the world. Liverpool involves the world. It's not just Liverpool, but we've got to see how it started off. When we got a Royal Charter in 1207. August the 27th, 1207 of King John. He said, "Here, Liverpool, here's your charter. Start what you need to start." But there's more to it than that. So I'm going for a break, people. Please believe me. I'm going for a break. And be able to rest my eyes as I'm. So I'm going for a break, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Is that okay? I'm only going, making a cup of tea, and I'll be right back. Okay, cheers. I'm on my way to see a lovely, lovely lady. John Lennon. Never heard of him. Here we are in Stanley Street, Liverpool, and just around the corner is Matthew Street, and I don't think you need me to tell you about what happened there. However, let me introduce you to this lovely daughter of Liverpool, Eleanor Rigby. Eleanor's been here since 1982 as a thank you to Liverpool for the Beatles. What makes it special is it's been made and donated to the city by a man who has had his fair share of fame for 6 decades. Tommy Steele. Who was Eleanor Rigby? Well, she was the name on a grave in St. Peter's Churchyard in Wooton,
where John and Paul met. However, the song isn't the story of their life. Paul was just fascinated with the name and built the story around that. Incidentally, the song started out as a Daisy Hawkins. Daisy Hawkins. Hasn't got the same ring to it, has it? Eleanor's a lovely piece of work and is very much loved by the people of Liverpool and many tourists alike. Oh, you're never going to believe this, because inside the statue is a lovely touch. Tommy placed a 4-leaf clover for nature, a page of the Bible for spiritual matters, a football sock for sport, not sure if it's a blue or a red one, a dandy and beano for humour, and 4 sonnets representing romance. And you thought Tommy Steele was just a singer. Not only is the statue dedicated to the people of Liverpool, it's also for all the lonely people. And if you ever are feeling a little lonely, come over and sit down and share your thoughts. A worry shared is a worry halved. Isn't it, girl? We're in Harrington Street, the other side of Matthew Street, and the Liverpool architect, David Backhouse, had put a nice little twist of humour on his building, Cavern Walks. Have a look at it. What's that all about? A big gorilla putting lipstick on. Even the seagulls are getting jealous of it. It just goes to show, even monkeys take a pride in their appearance here in Liverpool. This is the original Thomas Steers' 1715 dock wall, the first in the world. The reason why it's so special, between 1709 and 1715, this became the very first wet dock that controlled the tide and the water of the Mersey. 100 ships could easily fit in the dock itself. And this was the beginning of Liverpool's enterprise, maritime enterprise around the world. And it was the beginning of the dock system. And through Liverpool 1, this particular wall is preserved. Up above, there's a porthole that shoppers will be able to look down because the history is at their feet. Liverpool is built on sandstone, and where I'm actually standing is the seabed, again sandstone. Just imagine the original wood and the original cobbles have survived since 1715. After all these years, the mason's tomb marks are still here. Just look at the sheer size of this. This is preserved for future generations. It's our heritage, it's Liverpool heritage, and it's Wales heritage. Hang on, I think I better move. I think a ship's coming.
Yeah, there's Frank down there. I couldn't do that now, unfortunately. I couldn't do that now. But again, the time team was there at the same time. And His Grace, believe it or not, the Duke of Westminster, congratulated us. He said that was far better than what the time team did. You know, what we showed, because they never even went into the dock. They just mentioned the dock. I don't think that they wanted to give Liverpool any sort of benefit, to be honest. Anyway. I've got to carry on. Can't believe we send billions to other countries. That still happens now. That still happens now, like Red Nose say, or comic relief. And you see people suffering around the world. It's a sad state of affairs. It makes me so sad. You've got to come in on Friday. You'll have to come in on Friday, I'm afraid. That's when I'm doing this thing about that, about suffering. And the Woodmaster says, being a veteran, I've seen these places, and it's hell on earth. And they don't do it to eliminate high targets. They do it to wipe out future generations. It wasn't a good part of my life. Not proud, ashamed. Good man. Good man. Nothing can... Maggie. Hi, Frank. Where did the accent come from? I'll be talking all about... I'm trying to do my history show. This is what it's about, the origins of Liverpool. So that will be coming in. That will be coming into the equation, Maggie. So stay tuned. Love it, says our lovely Joe. All the way from LA. So we've got Tampa on one side of America to the other side in LA, California. Tampa in Florida, in California, LA in California. Hiya, Joe. Lovely, lovely girl. Lovely to see you. Trying to keep up, says Barry, with you, Frank. Writing information down when our visitors arrive from Southampton. Just rewinds it, you know what I mean? Just go and get all the info you can. There's all the DVDs on YouTube. You'll be able to have a look at them and get some information. You've never changed, Frank, says Davey. You must drink from the fountain of... I wish. Believe me, I have changed. I really have. I put nearly 3 stone on it, which is, which is a burden to me, unfortunately. And as Amy said, I love all the accents of the UK. We are unique. Really, we are, because go to Australia, and it's just the same, get right there, no matter what, coast to coast, get right. That's it. America's got different accents. I don't like the southern drawl. I think it's awful myself in America. But you're right, we are unique. There's so many different accents. So many. It's like you know, you Davey, you know, you talking to, say you're talking to some Americans, for example, they think that you are Scottish, coming from Newcastle, the northeast. It's as simple as that. Right, I've got to start on this, people. I really have.
عليك ليش هيك حامل اخوك؟
Oh, I forgot to.
طيب وين مودياها؟
بدي اروح عرشتنا.
وانت مش تعبانه وانت حاملاها هيك؟ تعبانه ولا لا؟
تعبان ولسه بحملها ومش فاكرتني.
وين رايحه انت هالقيت؟
انا رايحة منتزه البريج.
في المنتزه البريج؟
اه.
طب تعال اخذك معايا. يلا اطلع بدي اخذها معايا. بتحبي اختك عشان حملاكي كانت؟ طلع علي. يلا مع السلامة.
See how lucky we are. That's for that. I'm sorry I put us up there, but I'm not sorry. But it's got to be said. It has to be said. And but that's for Friday. That's for Friday. I've got loads of info already, Frank, since joining your chat, says Barry. I'm glad. Glad, Barry. Do you know what? I don't know where my slides are, you know. I really don't. I haven't a clue. There they are. Jason's just put them up. Tarjay. See, Liverpool, what you've got to think of is that Liverpool there was a couple of shacks on the banks of what we call the pool. And that's the pool coming in off the River Mersey that goes in and around. People call that the pool. And there was a couple of shacks there. And people, you know, just went and fished. There was actually salmon, fresh water as well. And people fished in there, caught salmon. Not only that, but, excuse me. Not only that. Now, when King John, you had Richard the Lionheart. Now, Richard the Lionheart, he was always on his crusades, you know, ethnic cleansing the Middle East. So he was always there. And he was always wanting money. And Prince John, Prince at the time, he had to keep putting taxes up. He had to pay Richard, you know, to give him money because you'd have to pay your troops. Troops are not going to go away and fight for nothing or get killed for nothing. And that's the way it is, even today. Even today. So people have to pay. I'll give you an example. Everybody knows Julius Caesar. Now, Julius Caesar, with all his conquests, his soldiers had to be paid. And there was a senator named Crassus, and he funded Caesar and his quests of getting new land or enemies of Rome. And that's, so you get funded. So King John was funding, so I mean, Prince John was funding for Richard. So when Richard died and he became king, they blamed him for putting up taxes, and not many people liked him. This is King John now. Not many people liked him. So what he did, he sent an antiquary around, well, not just one, but a few of them, around the country to see, you know, to see if I'm liked or disliked. It's as simple as that. So he gets to Chester, and the girl at Chester, you know, they said, "Do you like King John?" He said, "No." She said, "He kept putting taxes up." So I like him for bleeding us, he said. So anyway, he said, okay. He went in the little black book. And then the next was, you know, he came around the area. He goes up to Lancaster, and the sheriff there, he said, "How do you like the year?" He said, "He's all right." I said, "Okay, then." So he gets back down, and he's overlooking. He gets to a place called, and this is Anglo-Saxon, Highton. And it's not Highton as you think it is. It's Highton. It's an Anglo-Saxon word meaning high town. High town. And he's overlooking this place. He goes on the top of this place and he's overlooking Liverpool, and there's nothing there. As we know today, Liverpool. There's nothing there, only a few shops. And he goes, okay, this is great. Because when he was in Chester had always been silting up. Always been silting up. And it's been silting up since the Roman times for 1,000 years, over 1,000 years. So to embark and disembark troops would be an enormous task. So by the time he finished his journey, this antiquary, and he gets down to King John, and he said, listen, he said, I found a smashing place. No one owns it. No one owns this land. And it'll be ideal for the realm to claim it. And he said, where is it? He said, well, it's in the northwest of England. He said, and it's ideal to embark and disembark troops because of the silting up of Chester. So he said, okay then. Well, has it got a name? He said, no. The only name that it's got, people call it the Pool. These fishermen, you know, there's a few fishermen who are actually fishing this pool. And it's like another river coming off the River Mersey. Now, Mersey, as you know, is Mercian, and it means boundary. So the River Mersey is boundary in Mercian language. So he said, okay, then. He said, so no one owns it? No, no one owns it. Shall I claim it for the realm? Yeah, claim it for the realm. So he said, well, I can't just call it pool. He said, anything else there? He says, yeah, there's what there is around the shores. He said, there's tons of laver. And laver, again, Anglo-Saxon meaning seaweed. So he went, okay then. Tell you what, we'll put the two together, eh? We'll call it Liverpool. Okay, he said. And, you know, he could have even easily have said pool laver. So anyway, Liverpool it became, but it was hyphenated. The name was hyphenated. And it wasn't until 1537 when Liverpool was actually mentioned first time, really, by a lad named John Leland, who was also an antiquary and also librarian and bibliographer of Henry VIII. Henry VIII. And when he said Liverpool, because he gave it the proper name, but one word out, which was E. He called it Liverpool with an E. And, you know, what we know Liverpool without an E today. At the end, I'm talking about. So anyway, Liverpool, alias Liverpool. That's what Liverpool was called during the Latin period of the language in this country, Liverpool. So Liverpool became Liverpool on the 27th of August, 1207, when King John gave us Royal Charter. And how did Liverpool build up? Well, Liverpool, what they did, what the king said, he said, look, what we'll do, we'll put it under Cheshire, the county of Cheshire. He said, no. He said, because the Earl of Chester, you know, he wasn't very favourable to you. So he said, oh, right, okay. So he said, well, who was favourable to me? He said, well, the Sheriff of Lancaster, William D. Ferris. He was favourable. So he said, all right, get him down. Get him down to this new Liverpool and let him start, you know, building it up. So anyway, he came down and he was overseeing the building of this new borough, which is called Liverpool. So when he came down, he was made up, everybody else. So he looked for the highest promontory from the sea, from the Mersey. And the highest promontory was at the top of James Street, as we know today, where Victoria's monument is today. And it was overlooking the Mersey. So what he said and what he wanted to do, he wanted to build a castle. He wanted to build a castle on the highest promontory because he was going to garrison the castle. He's going to build a castle. No, I can't see it, unfortunately. I can't see the castle. Oh, yeah. And there's the Royal Charter. I forgot about this. There's the Royal Charter. There's the Eagle of St. John. That's our eagle. You know what we call a liver bird today? It's an eagle. And I'll explain how it became, you know, not an eagle. And that's the Royal Charter being given to the nobles of Liverpool by King John. And that particular was the very first image of Liverpool. And what you see there, ladies and gents, is St. Nick's Church to the left. St. Nick's Church to the left. And that church is still there today. Because to the right, people get mixed up by this and they say, oh, that's the castle. No, it's not the castle. Fuck me. Sorry about that. Oh, for fuck's sake, leave it. do think so, you know. Anyway, that's not the castle. And who built that? Where the Molyneux. And it's they built a hall. That's supposed to be a hall. So they built it, but they wanted it in, like, more or less in the shape of the castle. So anyway, they built it. Nevertheless, they built it. Everyone was made up. They were made up. And the next was to more or less rule from there. But, you know, we had a ruler in the castle. And to own the castle, to have the castle itself, you were the ruler. You had 4 major families in Liverpool at the time. You had the Molyneux, you had the Stanleys, you had the Norrises as well, and the Moores. And they were 4 major families of Liverpool. Very powerful people, especially the Molyneux and the Stanleys. They were very powerful people indeed. Excuse me. Very tasty work, this, you know. Believe it or not. So, this is what you've got. You've got Liverpool now firmly in the realm. In the realm, you've got it. Believe it or not, in the 1200s, when the castle was actually completed in approximately 1234. 1234. And they got all the stone from Moorfields. Moorfields. And when they were running out of the stone in Moorfields, they decided to go up to Lime Street. It all connects, you see. So they were getting the stone from Lime Street as well and bringing it down to build this castle. I don't know where I am. That particular thing there, that's John Lelland's. And this fella was the first fella to write about Liverpool. And he wrote it in a building in 1537. And that building's still there. I used to teach there. That building is still there. It was the very first grammar school in the north of England. And I used to teach there years ago, a few years ago. Anyway, that's by the by. So anyway, he wrote and he said, Liverpool, alias Leopold, right? And there's the most important thing he said. Remember when I said about the building of the castle in 1234, approximately? And he said, Leopold, a paved town. A paved town. That Manchester men do buy there. Now, you're talking 1537. And it's a paved town. But it goes before then. Because what did they do with all the stone left over from the building of the castle? Well, I'll tell you what they did. When they started to build the castle, they started to build 7 streets, which are still prevalent today, which are still there today, 7 streets. And it was built like a letter H. It was a Roman grid. So they decided then, rather than walk in mud, the buildings that were there, like homes, you know, for the artisans, for the tradesmen, everybody, because the nobility lived in the castle. That's where they resided. So there was homes built. And they decided to put the stone down like a pavement. Well, it wasn't like a pavement, it was a pavement. And that's why Leland said a paved town. And you've got to understand also that, when he's saying that, it goes back to the 1200s. But unfortunately, we don't know when it was paved, but I believe that it was paved during the 1200s, which is unique for the history of the country, not just Liverpool. I'm having another slurp of me tea. And I'll have to put my glasses on to read what he's just saying. Up to now. Our lovely little Lindsay. Even if Frank and everyone, hiya Lindsay. Hey, sweetheart. And Johan says that Manchester, Dubai, you're not going to believe it, Johan. I was given I was in a class once and I had to do and I was reading it out. I've actually got it somewhere, it was actual transcript that Manchester men Dubai there. And when I read that out, someone said, go away, will we train with Dubai? And I said, no. Manchester and Dubai. Genuinely. I couldn't poke fun or anything. I would have loved to have done. I said, no. I said, it sounds like it, doesn't it? Dubai. They are buying off Liverpool because of this linen and glass and whatever's coming in from Ireland. Because who we trading with was Ireland. And they were bringing in linen. Ireland. And they had been long before. They were bringing us in even before Liverpool became Liverpool. Because they were trading with people who went down to the shore from different parts of the likes of Cape Town, for example, Walton, West Derby, Everton, Toxteth. So they were all surrounding areas and people used to come down and buy the linen or whatever off these Irish lads coming in, 2-masted ships. And that was one of the reasons why as well that the antiquary of King John says you better get it because I seen an Irish boat there. And Irish were more or less deemed as an enemy or potential enemy simply because their friendship with both the Spanish and the French. Thanks, Lindsay. So you see, I'm roasting, you know. Oh, poor Maggie's going out. She said, I have to pop out, but I'll call back later and catch up then. Okay, Maggie, you do that, sweetheart. She's going for a bevy, yeah. Maggie Young, I'm popping out for a quick few beers and a couple of scotches and come back, feed the cat or the dog and make myself something to eat. Tea on toast, and she'll watch the ends of this. All right, Maggie, sweetheart, no problem. Where am I? Oh. And there's Liverpool, look, in all its glory. There's the pool going around the side of it towards the Everton Hill there in Toxteth. There's the castle. It's incredible, that particular picture. And all the... We had, in 1565, we had a terrible storm. And that's what it was called. It wasn't called Terrible Storm, the Big Storm, it's called. It's documented. And it happened on the 23rd of December. Right? So you can imagine the 23rd of December. And it blew everything away. It blew everything away. Because back in the day, all that was built was wooden houses, really just wooden. When you see these different aspects of medieval stuff with thatched roofs. But this great storm, as it was documented, the great storm, it was a hurricane that hit Liverpool on the 23rd of December 1565. And it blew, as I said, it blew everything away. And there was deaths, there was, fatal deaths. There was also bad injuries. And people said, we're getting off. We're not staying here. And the mayor at the time, he said, please stay. Don't go. We'll build it up. We'll build it up from stone. Now, back in the day as well, you had to have a license for stone to build. It's all right building from wood and thatch, but to have stone homes, stone anything, buildings, you had to have permission. And that's what happened. They got permission in 1566. 1566 to build from stone. We'll build everything, because the only things that was standing was the tower building, the castle, the little mad garrison, St. Nick's Church, because that was built from stone, and a couple of other little oddments. So the hurricanes done no damage really to the stone, and that's why the mayor said, what we're going to do, lads, is build from stone. And by 1566, Liverpool became the very first stone township in England. The very first stone township. So you see the way it goes from being a little mad place with a couple of shacks. Excuse me. In the early part of the 1200s, and by 1207, we had a royal charter. By 1237, as I mentioned, not 1237, I'm sorry. I'd say that St. Nick's Church, when they built the castle, listen to me. When they built the castle, they built a church with inside it. And they called it St. Mary del Keys. So St. Mary del Keys, St. Mary's of the Keys. Now the keys were spelt with a K, so to speak, keys. You unlock. So the ordinary people who actually built this castle and built the church wanted to celebrate services. But the sheriff said, no, you can't. It's only for us. Go and build your church somewhere else. So they said, okay, we will. And they went down. You're talking like 1234, 1235. And they went to near the river's edge, the River Mersey's edge. And that's where you see the church there on the extreme left. And that's St. Nick's Church. Is it? Yeah, St. Nick's Church on the extreme left. So this is what you have. Now I'd say that was built around, properly as well. Properly, by the time they built it and it went up, and I'd say it was around 1250 that St. Nick's was there. And I think around well before coming into the 1300s that we had a paved town. As John Lennon mentioned, in the 1500s, Liverpool, a paved town. So it's all documented, this stuff. And there's your street plan, see, like a letter H. So Liverpool was growing because when they started to build a castle, stonemasons had to come in, joiners had to come in, so they were getting these people who had professions, the likes of stonemasons, the likes of carpenters. Oh, tired. And it's wonderful to think that as these people were coming in, they were staying. And they were staying around those 7 streets of Liverpool, which is still there today, by the way, those streets. It's incredible. It really is incredible. Just bear with me a moment. I'm just going down somewhere. I'm looking at a big map, you see. And I'm going to show you where the 7 streets are. On a map I'm going to show you now, so bear with me. My eyes are really killing me, you know. So I'm going to remove this. I can't remove. Hang on, I'm going to add this. Let's see if I can add. No. How do I add it? No. I could have maximised that actually. But remove from stage. Right, I'm going to take this off. Oh, hey, come on, give me a break. Right, and I'm going to show this. Is that maximised? Let's see if we can get it any bigger. Oh. Oh. Look at that. Good grief. Now, I hope you can see. Oh, that's great, that. That's great. Now, this says, just bear with me just one more time. That's all. Right. So I'm going to show you the 7 streets on here. And the letter H. So it goes down there. And across there. And up there. So there's your letter H. Right there. There's St. Nick's Church. Hang on. Hang on. I'm going to show you. There's your letter H. Okay, down there. Down there and down there and across here. Right across. That's your letter H. Which is great. Okay. And that's what all these buildings were based on. So here, you're at the castle here because you see the roundness of it. And that's still prevalent today, that roundness, by the way. That's where the castle was. Right, I'll get back to that later. This is the town hall. That's Liverpool Town Hall. And one other building that's very important, is very important, is this building here. That building there. Now, that particular building, ladies and gents, was the very first Bank of England outside London. Because our business, Liverpool, I'm telling you now, with the business people, they were immense. They were very powerful, the businessmen of Liverpool. And they said, sod this, we're not going down to Threadneedle Street all the time to do business. We'll do our business up here. So they decided to have a Bank of England up here. And that was the first of all in all the provinces up and down the country to have, you know, a Bank of England so they could do the business there. And it's not a bank today, like, but it's still there. It's still standing there. Great building. Great. And down here is St. Nick's. That's St. Nicholas, that. And as I said, you know, that was built in the 1200s. I'd say around 1250 to build that. St. Nick's Church. I wish I would have had you with me. I could have shown you something in there that would have blown you, well, would blow your mind. Just blow it right away. And there's exchange flags there. Very famous exchange flags. So that's where the castle was. And they knocked the castle down in 1724. And there was preservationists saying, oh, don't knock it down. It's the first building in Liverpool. The castle. What are you knocking it down for? But they just wanted to get rid of it because what they wanted a church built. And they built that church, St. George's Church here. That's the church. So they built that church, St. George's. What for? Why did they build that church? Well, they built the church because back in the day it was very religious. So they pulled the castle down to build that, which is nuts, absolutely nuts. Just imagine if we preserved our castle. I love our castle. I remember going to, I brought my students up because we've got a replica castle up in Rivington Pike. There it is. That's my photograph there. And Lord Leverhulme, he built the castle as a replica of the way the castle was left. And we could have easily have saved it. Easily. Like other buildings that we could have easily have saved. But no, let's get rid of it. Anyway, they built St. George's Church. And that church actually, it was built around 1728, 1730. And they knocked it down then. They knocked it down in 1896. So when they knocked it down, they decided to build a monument dedicated to Queen Victoria. And it's still there today. Queen Victoria's monument. Amazing. Amazing. And if you're wondering why that this is round, the castle that was there, it's had a moat. Hence, so it had a moat around it. And the water was coming off the pool because the pool ran along here, which was mad. The pool. And as Carl Jung said, the pool of life. Excuse me, it's just my eyes were hurting. But what I want to show you, you know what I talk about? People knocking down things. This is one of the most tragic of all. And it's two buildings. One is this, and the other one's that. These two buildings. This building here, that was the custom house. That was the 5th custom. And it was built by John Foster Jr., by the way. The fellow who built no, it doesn't matter. So the fellow who built that, John Foster Jr., he built lots of stuff in Liverpool. And I mean, lots of it. And that opens its doors in 1828. Beautiful building, bigger than St. George's Hall. Bigger than that. I'll just show you the comparison. So have a look at that. If I can find St. George's Hall, yeah, there will be. Yeah. See, there's St. George's Hall there. That's St. George's Hall. And it was built with the same stone. And by the way, Lamb Street Station here, that's all glass, that's a glass top. That was the most expansive glass top roof in the entire Wales when that was built. We also did a, it was incredible actually, all these Romanesque facades. So we were the first to do a Romanesque facade, believe it or not. And here is the tunnel, very famous tunnel, very famous. Let's just show you where I grew up. I grew up around here. I grew up around there. That's where I grew up, right next to the city centre. And this church here isn't there no longer. It was St. Anne's Church. Now, me and my little mates, we used to cross over the roads, this little mad little road, Hunter Street here. And we used to play on there football because it was, the surface was grass. We always played in our square on concrete. So that was grass made up. But little did we know, well, not we, but that I was playing on, and don't forget it was a graveyard. That was a graveyard. We used to call it the gravy because there was a few headstones and things, flattened. When you're kids, you take no notice. But when I found out years and years later that I was playing football and one of my heroes, great British heroes, Scouser at that as well, I couldn't believe it because he was buried there. And his name is Wyndham Sadler. Wyndham Sadler, the very first British aeronaut. Well, aeronaut, no matter where he came from, but to cross an expanse of water. Balloonists were terrified. But he crossed from, albeit he was a Scouser. His dad tried for many years, but his dad was always setting off from Liverpool and he was always brought down. And he said, let me try from Dublin, because he wanted to get to Liverpool to Dublin in a balloon, his dad, the country's first British aeronaut. So anyway, he went over to Dublin, jumped in the balloon. He sailed over with it, obviously. Anyway, he blew it up. And he sailed and landed in Liverpool. He's the first person to do it because other balloonists were terrified. Because if you If you were a balloonist and you came down into a body of water, who's going to rescue you? But he took the chance and he crossed right over from Dublin to Liverpool. Wyndham Sadler. In April 1817. 1817. The unfortunate thing for the wonderful lad was that in 1823 he was crossing the Lancashire moors from the Yorkshire moors, and his balloon was crashed and he was killed. Hence he was buried in that cemetery, St. Anne's Cemetery. One of my real heroes. So you see, and that was just telling you about, sorry there people, that was telling you about St. George's Hall and the Custom House, the beautiful Custom House there. And that was another big stupid thing, because it was bombed during the war and an incendiary went through the dome, just went through the dome there, and it gutted 3/4 of it. You know, they got to it and put the fire out, and it was just gutted. And preservationists then were saying, don't pull it down. But it was corruption. Because these Yanks, you know, haven't seen that, you know, visiting Liverpool on their ships, you know, businessmen. They said, you want to see this place, it's unbelievable. So what they said was, we'll buy it off you. We'll buy it off you. And so they were taking it down stone by stone and everything they were doing. The columns as well. They were still standing. It was only that it was gutted inside. And people were saying, preservation, don't pull it down. Anyway, they pulled it down. And the Americans walked away from it because they said it had taken too long, this. You know, America want everything done within no time. That's why they go and bomb places. They want it done right away. Oh, by the way, excuse me. Imagine that. Imagine that. Here. Now I know Dennis Paparak. Now he goes around Liverpool with his band, you know, when he's over playing at the Cavern. And he goes around. Now he's been down here loads of times. There. And I suppose any of you have visited Liverpool have been here also. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Albert Dock. And in the wisdom of our wonderful councillors who haven't a clue, haven't a effing clue, they wanted to pull that down. And I'm talking in the 1980s. They were letting it go to rack and ruin until, with a stroke of luck, Thatcher demoted Michael Heseltine to be a minister of Merseyside. That was a demotion. That was like a sarcastic demotion. Yeah, you can be there then. Anyway, he came up and revitalised Liverpool, and he saved the Albert Dock. He saved it. He said to these councils, "Don't you know what this is?" They never had a clue. And he got all the funding. And what you see today is through Michael Heseltine, a wonderful man, albeit he was a Tory. And we hate Tories up here, but he's all right. He was all right, Heseltine. Came to Liverpool, knew the score about Liverpool. And that building there, that came down in 19... There was loads of... Even me, I protested about this coming down. And it's the Sailors' Home. Now, could you imagine? That should have been a big hotel, or even residential homes. That beautiful building. That. And this, could you imagine that? On the Albert Dock there. Look, just that. Because it's all changed around here now. Beautiful buildings. But could you imagine those incorporated with the Albert Dock? Magnificent. But we're in our wonderful, clueless council. Hey. And when that when the Sailors' Home came down in 1974, the whole was just there until Liverpool 1 came along, which I was the historical consultant for. Just looking at it. If that would have only been saved. Look at it. Sickening. Listen, I'm going to finish, people. My little eyes are killing me. And you don't want me to sit with me sunglasses on. But I will be talking more next week about the history of Liverpool. I really will. There'll be more detail. There'll be more coming into what I mean is the English Civil War, because I've gone right up now up into the 19th century there, but I'll be getting into more about what was happening in Liverpool, and even the great American connection. Liverpool has more connection with America than any other European city, believe it or not. So I'll be going right, as I said, medieval times. I'll be talking about medieval times. I'll be talking about Shakespeare as well, coming up to the area. I'll also be talking about the printing machine. I'll be talking about the English Civil War and the impact it has on Liverpool. So this is all involved, and also famous characters. I'll be talking about that. It's going to take more than, I'm being honest, reading out the comments in the first hour. I'm being honest, it'll be more than a couple of weeks, next week. It'll be a couple of weeks. If you want to know the full, because I have to go right up to and including the First and Second World War, and beyond. And beyond. And right up to when Thatcher and Howe, Geoffrey Howe, wanted to manage decline, the deliberate failing of a major city in the UK. I want to talk about that vigorously. So, have you enjoyed the little part that I did do, by the way? Please let me know. Please let me know. Excellent stuff. Oh, it's the comments. It's the comment. Oh, thank God for that. I couldn't. I wanted to remove this. So listen, let me know, if it was okay. And, I'll carry on next week. But don't forget as well, next week, hopefully, we'll be going on. I really need, honestly, people, whether you come from Liverpool or not, please, just give me a moment. The likes of this and the likes of that. Now you might think, well, what's that? Let me see. Jason, are you there? Can you enhance that? Please. Maximize, dear. Got it. Maximize. Because the likes of that, believe it or not, we can talk about these things. We really can. Because these are visionaries. These are visionaries. And when you think about Blake, you might think, art and literature, how does that unite? Believe me, please believe me, people, it'll be absolutely fantastic. It'll be fantastic. There I am. Hello, Frank. Oh, I don't know how to get myself big. Oh, there I am. Should have stayed small, shouldn't I, in the little corner? But anyway, you might think, literature and art, believe me, it'll be good. I know that you might think, but it will be good. It's no use. Do you know like a comedy series? Yeah, look at that. Hey, look, he maximised it. Look at that. Look at that. He maximised it. Good old Jason. Look. Now, how would that fit in with literature? Believe you me, it will. It will. Everything like that. You've got the likes of Blake. You've got the likes of Da Vinci. So how does it fit in with literature? It certainly does. You see, literature, we all read literature. I read like Billy Bunter when I was little. Loved Billy Bunter. But I was only reading the stories. Everybody's read A Christmas Carol. One of the greatest ghost, well, it is not one, is the greatest ghost story ever. And that's what it is. It's not about Christmas, it's a ghost story. But what's behind the ghost story? What is behind it? Why did Dickens write it? What message was he putting out? See what I mean? You've got poets. And rather condense it, rather than write a story, these wonderful poets, they condense a story. They condense it. And when I'm doing a history of Liverpool, and I mentioned, didn't I, about the First World War, I will be talking poets. I will be talking them. We can't forget, people. We want to get away from wars and all the horribleness of wars. We just want to get away from it. And this is why on Friday I showed those children. But we're like that. We've been like that for thousands of years. And, people say, well, what about the humanity of the world? There is humanity in the world. You are the humanity of the world because you say this is wrong. But you get others who don't give a toss about humanity, who are looking in. But that's for Friday, you see. But you might think that's got nothing to do with history. It has. It's got a hell of a lot to do with history. It's got a lot to do with the visionaries, as I mentioned, about literature and art. It's incredible. It really is incredible. You never had the likes of Da Vinci, writing. Well, I'm sorry. He was a great writer, by the way. Got something to say about that as well. We will have something to say about Da Vinci's writing or writings, which is blow your mind. Really will. Blow your mind. No matter how you look at it. It's not just painting. So you love that. As I said, you love these wonderful people. And that's what I want to do. I hope to do that on Thursday, if we're ready. Just give us a shot. Please just give us a shot. Unless I'll do it after the World Cup. Have more time. Do it after the World Cup. Because literature is one of the most important things of learning in the entire world. It really is. It really is. And we've got the English classics. But you've got modern day visionaries like George Orwell. I mentioned him before, Eric Blair. That's his real name. Incredible man. But you've got other visionaries. The likes of Jules Verne, for example. H.G. Wells. Come on. H.G. Da Vinci. Visionary in art. William Blake. Visionary in art. I just love them to be. I would. Fancy saying to Charles Dickens and showing them what I've shown before about those young kids. Hey, wonder what he'd say. What would he say? Would he say, yeah, of course he would. Haven't we learned? Wilfred Owen, haven't we learned? Da Vinci, haven't we learned? William Blake, haven't we learned? Shakespeare, come on. That's why I want to do literature. Besides my history as well. And keep up with what's going on with every Friday. What's going on in the world. Getting red cards, turns over, put it that way. Billy Bunsen, Desperate. I read Desperate Town, loved it. Loved Desperate Town. Where are we? Let's see. I'll go down, finish on oh yeah, there's If You Know Your History. Yeah, that's your little blues song, isn't it? Christian DeWitt. Subscribed. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Christian DeWitt. That's interesting. Didn't know that. Says Chris. How come Liverpool never became a big city as places like Birmingham, etc., population and area-wise? Do you know what? That's a cracking question, Christian. It really is a cracking question. And I will come to that, doing my history, you know. But I only do my history on a Monday. I do other things, you know, other podcasts. But my history one, that definitely will come into the equation. It really will. It really will. And how do cities become bigger? Well, the likes of Birmingham, yeah, can't say too much, to be honest. Get myself into trouble. What date was that Bank of England, Frank? 1846. Yeah, he's writing that down. Because he's got to show his people, you see. From Southampton. (1846), that, Barry. What's in there? Give us a hint at least. Do you mean in the Bank of England? The Bank of England. It's opened up now. I think it's a bar. I think it is. One of our mayors, unfortunately, is being investigated. He opens it up to the homeless. And even, what are you doing? Don't you know what's inside there? Homeless, come on, people. Not, please, they should be given houses. But, you know, you tend to wreck things. Sorry to say that. They should be given homes. They should be given homes. Never mind sleeping in streets and opening up precious buildings. But anyway, and they did records, unfortunately. So, you know, I'm not saying wrecked at all, but anyway, it's all being done out now. Back to its former self. Which is great. Gary says to Christian, it was bigger than Birmingham at one time, second city of the empire. Thanks for stealing me, tons of, but yes, you're right. You're right, Gary. 110%, right. And Sean Ole, are you Frank? Are you sure? I could show you on the map. No. I'll show you where I am. Show you where I grew up. I think I showed you it before. I'll show you it again. Okay. Just be. I don't want to move. Okay, I'll move it. If I can get this up, as they say. Right. Maximize. Can I maximize? I'm not going to maximize because it sounds enough to. Right. So. St. George's Hall. Right there. St. George's Hall. Yeah. Right. That I've shown before. And that's not far from where I've just been shown about the custom house that was knocked down, which I was going mad about. So there's St. George's Hall. That's where I grew up, right around there. And it's just here. Oh, I can't see it. You can just about see it. So that's where I grew up there. And I live along here, not far from there. So it's more or less the catchment area of where I am now. How about that? How about that? Like that Scotland Road, that there. That's the road that led to Scotland. And this is where I live along here. Just around here. That's all. So you say that's where I live. Not far from. I'm on the periphery of the city centre. Because where St. George's Hall is, and that's the city centre. I hope that's okay for you, buddy. Frank, did the Romans settle around? Yeah, they did. Merseyside, I know they did in Chester. Yeah, and Manchester. That's why the Chesters, Romans always stayed there. And where they viewed, again, blimey. I know, say, they viewed Liverpool, don't forget he was knocking around then, from a place called Hyerton, which became Everton. And that's where the antiquary of King John viewed Liverpool. It wasn't Liverpool, it was just land that he wanted for the realm. And that's when Liverpool became Liverpool in 1207. So you see, I'll be talking all about it, actually, and what the lad said there before about, and what you said, Gary, about Liverpool being the second city of the empire, but it was the first city in all honesty. It was just that London was the capital. And who made the London the capital? The Romans, Londinium. I've got great stories, really, and it's just like Wyndham Sadler, who crossed an expanse of water. The likes of him, crusaders, absolutely amazing, pioneers who risked their lives to say, yes, a balloon can cross an expanse of water. The old sailors come. Hang on. The old sailor's home was beautiful. I actually remember a bit. Did you, Gary? You're a lucky man, you. Oh, Dennis. The first time I visited Liverpool, summer 19... Have you been coming that long? The docks were only just recently refurbished, that's right. And the cavern walks was just becoming a thing. Very crazy in the 70s and 80s. No effort no. And the likes of, you mentioned the cavern, they pulled that down to make a little car park for about 5 cars. David Backhouse, who is a friend of mine, who designed Matthew Street. You know, he designed Cavern Walks. You know, the fella who put the lipstick on the, it was great that, you know, on the gorilla. It was great that. And really nice man. And he said, you know, it's a shame. And he said, let me preserve the cavern. I'll build up above it. I'll give it a nice entrance even. Oh, look it down. Fellas in. It's what you call heritage gone to waste. Dennis. Have a good night, y'all. Cheers, Dennis. You too. And I'll have to put my glasses on, you know. My eyes were straining then. Frank, is it true? Hang on. Frank, is it true that Old Norse connections led the city to be more seafaring than most? Scousers were up there with the Norwegians and whaling until the Japanese took over. Spot on. I'll be talking about that. I'll be actually talking about that because people don't realise that we have a Japanese community because they came all the way from Japan. Because when an American by the name of Daniel Brocklebank came over, he went to Canada first, Brocklebank, and he said, listen, I want to set up a whaling company. And he said, no, F off. We've got enough here. You're not coming here. Canadian, you know, an American going to Canada, you know what they're like. And you don't blame them. So he said, okay. So he came over to Liverpool. Daniel Brocklebank set up a whaling thing. He said, can I set? He said, yeah. He said, I'd like to see whales in the Mersey. He said, no, hang on, there's whales over there. Do you see their mills? That's whales. And he said, no, not that whales. I mean, big fish. There's a great big fish. I want to see coming down the Mersey. So he said, oh, okay. Where are you going to catch them? I'm only joking, by the way. But anyway, he said, yeah, you know, get your whale, you know, yeah, set it up. And Scousers went on it. I will talk about it in depth. Good shout, that, Johan. Barry. Great again, Frank. Thanks. Can't wait for next week. And Gary says, sorry I missed the first half, but I'll catch up. It's just great that you appeared, Gary, honestly. And I can only see 4 likes up there. 4. What likes me? Stephen Coughlin, thanks for tonight, Frank. Love the show as always. So good night. God bless to you and all the chat. You'll never walk alone. Thank you, Stephen. Don't forget the football show on Wednesday. Got to talk about it. You know, there's some fucking arseholes, unfortunately. Liverpool are involved with every conceivable, but we're looking at. Pick the world. Great show, Frank. We were silent because we were in awe of the knowledge being diverted to our. Thank you, Johan. Thank you so much. Correct, Johan, says Barry. Davy, Davy, the Newcastle lad. Great show. Gan canny, everyone. That means good night, everyone. In Geordie Land's language. Looking forward to next Monday. I'll be early on. 10, honestly, yeah. Well, I never done any history in the first hour, so, you're all right, because everyone was talking about, every time I said, no football. But someone mentioned something, and I have to answer, you see. Then, I don't know whether I gave some history in the first hour. But anyway, Billy Bunter, desperate town. That's what I read, Gary. Honestly. Love the Liverpool history. Wait till you hear it next week as well. Bison next Monday. That's genuine. A Birmingham lad. She said, I didn't know he was bison up here. I said, what? She said, I didn't know he was bison up here. I said, what do you mean, bison up here in Scotland? On our way to Grey, just outside Glasgow. And he was from Birmingham, bison. Because he read it, there's a basin. And he thought it was bison. And he was expecting bison to be rolling around outside Glasgow. You know what I mean, like? Gary to Christian. Christian, it's because they only gave us one side of the river. Because it's not big. The likes of London and Glasgow are on both sides of the river. So is Budapest. They're two cities. And they're on, Budapest. And what do we call it? Budapest. But it's not, it's Budapest. Because the people from Buda, if you say, are you from Budapest? No, we're from Buda. And if you ask anyone from Pest, oh, you're from Budapest? No, we are from Pest. And what does bacon egg get called, unfortunately? I don't call it the dark side. I never said that. Frank is a brutal book. I'm not, I'm Jerry Garden's book, mate. Not Boot Hill. Not Boot Hill. No way. He's not from Bootle. He's from Scotty Road, says Gary the Rigby. Yes. I'm only messing. And Barry says, just curious, because you always said you grew up since I met you. Just curious, because you always said where you grew up since I met you. Yeah, always said it. I'm proud of my roots. I'm proud of Liverpool as well. When people, it's shocking when people ask you, they always ask you, I never ever ask them when I'm away. When you start talking to them, oh, yeah, what's your work as? Well, I retired now. Well, what did you do before you retired? And I think they'd love me to say, well, I was a bank robber, Look, they'd love that. Or I used to steal cars for a living and sell them. I used to go down to Birmingham and steal a car, and then come up to Liverpool and sell it here. See, I've always said I'm a lecturer, and they've never believed me. And I said, well, all right. I said, do you want me to be a bricklayer? I'll be a bricklayer for you then. I'm a bricklayer. That's what they believe in. And it's all because of the accent. And Bluey says, it's Scotland Road, or just Scotty, by the way. That's it, mate, Scotty. The catchment area of Scotland Road. Arthur Dooley predicted the Albert Dock being a tourist attraction in 1973. And that's why he done nothing, if you know what I mean. The great man, Arthur. Never ever met him, unfortunately. Never ever met the big man. I would have loved to have met him in person and spoke to him. I've been to his studio. Just think about it. That's a great one, that, Barry. I'm glad you mentioned that. Putting some iconic like the cabin for a bloody car park, can't make it up, can you? Nobody, you can't. And what was that? But you wouldn't tell people if you did, though. I don't understand that comment at all. I say I lose the thread. Lose the thread. It's the way it is. Oh, yeah. I just seen it there. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I thought you were selling red pills to the Neo from the Matrix when the stream began. Just imagine that. The red ants. And the Rob Banks, oh, okay, yeah, honestly. And you wouldn't know. Of course you wouldn't say it. They wiped out the whole communities like a jail. Of course they did. Of course they did. Why do you think look, there's loads of it. They are, look. And Davey, look. He sums everything up, and that lad's from Glasgow. Sorry. That lad's from Newcastle. He's from Newcastle, that lad. I've still got a flat cap whippet according to the Southerners. I've always said it. And it's all, believe it or not, it's propaganda. Look, I was elected at Liverpool Uni. And students, I've heard saying to me, we wanted to come to Liverpool. I always wanted to come to Liverpool when, I had the opportunity of studying. Yeah, great. But my parents said, what do you want to go there for? And I love it, she said. I love it. But that's not just one, that's loads of them. I know doctors. They've actually stayed. They've made their life here. Stayed because they love the place. So you see, it's just a matter of when parents have come up and they've actually gone around Liverpool, never been here, oh, don't go there, because it's always been a bad press. And yes, it's been voted, hasn't it, the friendliest and warmest city in the whole of the UK. Makes sense of that. If, people say, oh, it's a bad place, that Liverpool. And on that wonderful note about the flat caps and the whippets, I'm going to leave, and I'll see you on Wednesday. I'd love to have carried on tomorrow night, to be honest. But there's all football on, isn't there? So there's no football on Wednesday. But the false reputation follows us, Frank. We can't shake it off. And it's always from people who have never been to here. No, you're like there, Gary the Rigby. You're right. And Bluey says, London, massive dog tracks, flat caps. So what Southerners do? I mean, you know, the people who live, I've lived down there actually. You know, the people who are from all the leafy suburbs of Sussex and Surrey and Middlesex, you know, the home counties. Those people. Bluey. I know. I know. Try going away, Bluey, and say that you're a brain surgeon. You might be a brain surgeon for all that I know. You know what I mean? They wouldn't believe you because of your accent. They wouldn't believe you. I was just an ordinary lecturer. Didn't believe me because of my accent. Caught a few out during my time. Caught them out. Stockbroker belts, but they do it over here anyway. You know, they do it up here. The stockbroker belts over in Cheshire. It's where Wayne Rooney went and lived. Oh, I'm better than that. And goes over and lives in the stockbroker. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, on that note, I'm going to finish, and I'll see you all on Wednesday, I hope. Not all, but most. Oh, Jamie. Wow. Hi, Frank. Frank, I'm from Jamie Summers in Spain. 8 years now, pal. 9 married. And you'll never walk alone. Oh, great. And that's smashing. Hiya, Jamie. Oh, that lovely. Oh, Jamie. Good grief, I haven't heard from you for yonks. Highest regards, sir. Oh, smashing. And on that note, I'm going to finish. A person I was saying for yonks, and he sent me all his best. Thank you. I'm going to finish. Ciao, everybody. So I'll see you on Wednesday. Hopefully. That's some of you anyway. So it's good night, and it's good night from the whippets and the flat caps and the stockbroker belt. Okay. Good night, Jamie. Good night, lads. Love to your wife and everything. Okay. Ciao, Franco. Yep. Ci vediamo a tutti. Ciao.